Welcome to the Metals Investment Forum. It's my great pleasure to invite Silver47 back. Silver47 has grown dramatically in the past couple of years, including mergers with Suma Silver. Now you have assets from all the way Alaska to Nevada to Arizona.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, so glad you're here to tell us where you are right now. It seems a lot of excitement coming in for
Well, very much. And I asked myself where to begin because there's just so much going on. But big picture, 3 U.S. silver projects, 247 million silver equivalent ounces at north of 330 grams per ton silver equivalent. And very well financed. We've got $55 million in the bank that we're going to be deploying aggressively at all 3 of our projects via drill programs here. Well, starting now. So having a continuous news flow certainly for the rest of the year.
Wow, excellent. So first, let's start with Alaska. What's the excitement there?
Yeah, so Alaska, like my background is a geologist, so I'll start there. I'll say, and it's just very rare that you come across an opportunity where you have an entire belt of good rocks, 60 kilometers long, where these types of deposits form in clusters, and we've already got a great start. There's 15 million tons and 168 million silver equivalent ounces there to start. In the U.S. where the critical mineral focus there is really emerging, and this isn't just silver. It's silver, zinc, lead, copper, a little bit of antimony, a little bit of gallium, a little bit of indium, a little bit of tin around. That will probably be helpful over time, but the only thing in the deposit that's not a critical mineral is gold. So I think that's a pretty nice place to be.
Very nice.
And over 60 kilometers, we've drilled out. There's 2 deposits that have been drilled out. There's dozens of other ones there on the project that just aren't explored yet. So that's what excites me about that.
Yeah, very exciting and a big deposit. I also remember Trump administration recently supported an Alaska company by investing in them, and the stock actually tripled on the news.
Yes.
So then that's another way, because United States is so focused on critical mineral, it could potentially help you, going forward.
They're on record saying that they want to deploy billions of dollars into the mining industry to really help secure supply of domestic critical minerals. And we've been hearing about this for years, that the U.S. needs to do this for maybe a decade. And finally, now they're taking it seriously. They've looked at what the reality is and they go, uh-oh, we better work on this and we better work on it quickly.
Yeah, excellent. So there's a lot of excitement. First Alaska, now Nevada. Tell us what you have there.
Right, in Nevada, we've got about 44 million silver equivalent ounces just in gold and silver in this really Wild West old mining district that before we started working on hadn't really seen much modern exploration. But we've drilled that out as a start pretty successfully, the eastern half of the Tonopah mining district and its extensions. And what really excites us about that one is its extensions, where we're looking for an extension of a 500 million ounce silver district. So that we're going to be taking a shot at really drilling aggressively here, starting in March, and hope to answer the questions of where's the rest of the district? Where did it go? It's hiding, and let's try to find it. But another interesting thing on that project is that we've also got about 2.75 million silver equivalent ounces in tailings sitting at surface. It's just sand sitting out on private property at surface. And, you don't really think compared to some of the other companies out there and what many companies have on their books, almost 3 million ounces doesn't sound like a lot. But when silver just broke through $100 this morning, reprocessing that, might make a lot of sense. So that's something we're just starting to look at very closely now as well.
Okay, great. So would that be a simple heap leach process?
It's either a heap leach or it's a CIL plant.
Okay.
But we're figuring that out.
Whatever works best.
Yeah, exactly.
Depends on what's your silver assumption.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
Oh, that's great. So you have silver right at the surface in the wasteland.
Yes, exactly.
All right, good, excellent. And now back to South Arizona. I just heard Quentin told me this is a very exciting target. So tell us, what's the excitement?
So Mogollon is actually in western New Mexico. It's right beside Arizona. Very close to Arizona. And that one, I think, in my opinion, it's perhaps the best remaining at-surface vein field in the United States. Only a little bit of historic mining there going back to the 1880s. But production shut down in 1942 because that's when World War II, the U.S. went into World War II. So everything stopped. All gold and silver mining really stopped by an executive order, actually. So that one, we've just a starting point, 32 million silver equivalent ounces, again in gold and silver. That the resource incompletely covers about a mile or say 2 kilometers of one of the veins, there's 75 kilometers of additional vein present on the project that just hasn't really been explored for the most part. A little bit of mining, no exploration. You can go and sample all these veins at surface. You can get, 100, 500, 1,000, 5,000 grams per ton.
Wow. Wow. Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's very high grade.
Very high grade.
Very high grade.
Very high grade.
So what's your plan for exploration? You plan to drill some holes?
Yeah, of course. A lot of drilling's coming up. We're drilling in New Mexico at Muggione right now. We'll drill there until about the end of February. Then we'll transition to drilling in Nevada with I think a significant program there, probably 7,000 to 10,000 meters. And then transition to drilling in Alaska starting in June for probably 15 to 20,000 meters, something like that, give or take. We're still working on it. But so it's really a drill-focused story, but we're also looking at a significant resource update in Alaska. We think that our last season and previous season's drilling there was successful. So we'd like to see that translate into a resource update, which may transition into a first PEA. And that's really something that I think could help.
That's significant.
Identify, what that project could be worth.
Right. I remember you recently have a press release that you identify some very, very can be significant target in Alaska.
Yeah. So in Alaska, there's dozens of targets on the project, and you might get high grade at surface, in a sample that you can just pick up off the ground and not drilled. Or where another one where it is drilled, it looks like the beginning of a nice discovery and not really followed up on. So, it's nice with the funding that we have, 55 million. We can now go out this summer and test those, start testing them. It's our favorite ones. And these are the types of deposits that we know that they occur in clusters. And you might compare the VMS district, volcanic massive sulfide, but not to get too far into the weeds. But you can put that in Canada, in the Abitibi, and over 60 kilometers, there'll be multiple company-making mines in there going back 100 years.
Right, and then you own them all. So.
And we have more or less the entire belt. So it's a lot of work to do, but the opportunity is very, very large.
All right. Okay, great. So those 3 projects, what's your plan for all these? Looks like each project can be a company maker.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So how do we divide our forces? How do we correctly deploy capital? And right now, Alaska is certainly the closest one to that critical mass for sure. So we're really going to focus there as well for the most part. But yes, like you're saying, each one could be a company maker, and we want to have continuous news flow throughout the year. Alaska, you're drilling in the summertime. Mm-hmm. So with these projects in the lower 48, it really allows us to go and test those as well. And I mean, what better a time to go aggressive with adding value through drilling, a lot of drilling. I mean, it's when silver's, just touching 100 and through $100 this morning.
Wow, excellent timing. So for the shareholder, we will expect a lot of news, right? Coming from New Mexico, sorry, and Nevada, and then Alaska throughout the year.
Exactly, throughout the year. And I would also say, just on evaluation, we get about 41 cents per ounce in the ground on an EV basis. Our peers are all $2.50, $3.50, $4. Yeah. So I just would like to make the argument that we have a lot of catching up.
Yeah,
our peers are all great. They're going to go up too. Yeah, but we have a lot of catching up.
Right. If you look at the exploration company with a resource,
exactly,
and then growing, you can double, triple those resources. With just look at the current resource, you're one of the cheaper ones.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, great. Yeah. So, and then finally, in the history of the company, has so much money, you can really deploy at your wish. I'll put it this way. Right? Yeah. I'm sure you're not going to waste anybody. You can really systematically follow up with all the different targets.
And I like the word you choose there, systematically. That's one of our strengths. I said earlier, I'm a geologist. We really systematically approach discovery in a way that maximizes per spend in the ground and maximizes that efficiency. And the way that we've had success doing that in these old districts, these old Wild West districts, is knowing our data. I think we scanned and digitized just for Hughes in Nevada, 1,200 maps, and built all of our 3D models off of that. And that's what has allowed us to be successful.
All right, great. Thank you. Nice to invite you back, and hope to hear great news from you.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, we'll see you very soon.